Today we're looking at all the Marvel comics published with a cover date of April 1964. You'll see that there was 11 titles in total, but we're going to feature just the superhero genre ones, starting with Amazing Spider-Man number 11. This was the 129th Silver Age superhero comic published by Marvel since Stan Lee got back into it in 1961, starting the Silver Age of Marvel. This issue features the first appearance of Bennett Brandt and also his death. And this is the brother of Betty Brandt. This issue also features the second appearance of Dr. Octopus, featuring a nice cover appearance. Cover and interior art by Steve Ditko. This is the seventh most valuable first appearance Marvel comic of 1964. Print run estimated 200,000 copies, which was pretty well the print run of all Marvel's titles at this time. Looking at the CGC census over time, you can see almost 1,300 copies have been graded in all conditions, yet only 7 9.6s or better. Comics at this time still extremely hard to find. The luck of even surviving this many years in top condition raw. And with C Heritage, sales have gone up. They're up to 356 copies now have been sold on auction in the last 21 years. Here is the cover, 12 cents per cover at this time. Using the Overstreet annual price guide, we can see the growth in prices over a huge chunk of time here. In low grades, the book is moving up a little bit still every year. High grades, it's done quite well. It has almost tripled over this time period, still moving up at least $100 a year in high grade raw. And if you want to see how the slab CGC high grade copies are doing, check out eBay auctions that have ended, and also check out gpanalysis.com. Looking at the CGC census a little closer, there are no 9.8s in existence. There are 7 9.6s. There is a UK price variant with a few copies graded, but the average being only a 5.5. And there's only one copy graded ever of the Mexican edition, which came out 1 month later. The next book that came out is the most important comic of the month from Marvel Comics. It is Daredevil number 1. Featuring the first appearance of the new superhero Daredevil, also Karen Page and Foggy Nelson in this issue. This is the number 1 most valuable first appearance Marvel comic of 1964. This is a major key book. Here's the cover. Tough to find in high grade. It's got that creamy white background cover and a lot of Marvel chipping on copies way back at this time. On the census, the book has gone crazy since there was a Daredevil TV series. It's really been increasing. Now over 4,000 copies graded, which is still not a lot, though, for this being such a major key book, really the most important book of 1964. There are 30 copies graded 9.6 or better. Heritage has sold now over 600 copies. Spider-Man is featured on the cover and the Fantastic Four, hoping to boost sales for this number 1 issue. Using the Overstreet price guide, we can see this book's always been a constant growth. This is a great investment book. It moves up every year. This book has never stalled in any condition. So this is a good one to always have a copy of. Of course, prices are going up. So you're going to pay way above guide to get a copy in any condition. You can see in this time frame, even in lowest grades, the book has tripled. And that is also the case with the higher grade copies raw. On the census, there are only 2 9.8s, 28 9.6s, and there's a UK price variant, but no super high grade copies at all. 2 that are a 9.0. And there is a rare Australian edition that came out 1 year later, the average grade being a 3.6. The next book that also came out this month is actually quite another significant key issue. It's the first battle of the Hulk and the Thing in Fantastic Four number 25. And it's the second appearance of Captain America in the Silver Age. And this book features Jack Kirby art and purple background on this 12-cent book. Again, the CGC census growing by the day. Over 1,000 copies now graded. 9.6s or better. Heritage sold 237 overall. In the Overstreet price guide, again, this book is consistently moving up, and it started to really speed up in the last 3 years. You can notice on the chart here, even in low grades. So overall, the book has doubled in low grades over this time period, but in high grades, it has tripled. On the census, there are 2 9.8s and 7 9.6s. There is only a few UK price variants graded, the average being a 6, and the highest one is an 8.0. Journey into Mystery 103 came out this month. It features the first appearance of the Enchantress and the Executioner. Again, we have Jack Kirby cover and art, print run, 205,000 copies. This one, a lot scarcer on the CDC census. There are now over 600 copies graded. Only 6 9.6s or better. Heritage has only sold 94 in the last 20 years. Red background on the top for the cover. In Overstreet, this book has had a lot of movement, though. It used to be crazy cheap. So this book has now gone up 5 times in low grades. And even in high grades, it has gone up 8 times in price. And consistently moving up. Lots of demand for this book. 1 9.8 in existence and 5 9.6s. The highest UK price variant is a 9, but there's only 2 copies at all graded of this book. Strange Tales 119 hit the stands, featuring the Rabble Rouser. And we've got the Human Torch and Doctor Strange in this issue, and Spider-Man makes a cameo in the Human Torch story. Jack Kirby cover. Doctor Strange story features art by Steve Ditko. Very few copies of this book graded. Only 120 in all conditions, and there's only 1 9.6 or better. Heritage has only sold 30 copies ever of this book. In Overstreet, you can see this is a ridiculously cheap book. You can afford copies of this book in any grade. The book has doubled in lowest grades, but still $18 for this book, which is almost 60 years old. Higher grades, the book has tripled. On the census, there are no 9.8s, and there's only 1 9.6, and no UK price and variants graded at all. This book does feature a full-page ad for Avengers 4, which features the first appearance of the Silver Age Captain America. Another major key out this month, Tales of Suspense 52, features the first appearance of the Black Widow, who would go on to join the Avengers and get her own movies, in fact. Crimson Dynamo also appears in this issue, which features a Jack Kirby cover. Action cover with Iron Man and Black Widow's first cover appearance. And again, gone crazy on the census. It's jumping up like crazy. Almost 1,400 copies graded, but only 4 9.6s or better. Heritage has now sold 169. Sales are really picking up on this book, which has always been undervalued. I've been telling people to buy this book for 20 years now. It's still fairly cheap, but it's finally getting out of the reach of some. You can see in the Overstreet price guide in low grades, the book has gone up 7 times in price. And in high grade, unbelievable, 13 times increase over this time period. No stopping. In fact, Overstreet had a $1,000 jump in 9.2 raw on this book in the last year. On the census, there are no 9.8 copies in existence, and there are only 4 9.6s. The UK price variance is 21 of them, the highest being a 9.0. Tales to Astonish 54 came out this month. It features the first appearance of the villain El Toro, and this book features a Jack Kirby cover as well. Not many copies of this graded though. It's climbing, but still only 171 copies of all grades combined. Only 6 9.6s or better. Giant Man and Wasp are on the cover. Heritage Auctions has only sold 39 copies in 21 years. And again, super cheap in the Overstreet price guide. You can still buy lower grade copies, $19. The book has only doubled in the last 16 years. And in high grade, the book has gone up about 2.5 times. On the census, there are 2 9.8s, 4 9.6s, only 3 of the UK price variants graded, the average being a 5.8. Now, comparing these books on the CDC census, we can see kind of which books are the highest demand. By far, Daredevil #1 with over 4,000 copies graded. Only 2 9.8s. After that, we've got Tales of Suspense 52, first appearance of Black Widow, 1,300. We've got the first appearance of Bennett Brant, 1,300 copies in Amazing Spider-Man 11. And Fantastic Four 25, over 1,000 copies graded. Looking at the other end, Strange Tales 119, even with a Spider-Man cameo, 120 copies graded. Very scarce on the census. That doesn't mean it's that much rarer. It just means demand is less for that book. Looking at which books are rarest in 9.8, well, there still is a few on our chart here. 3 of them, in fact, that do not have a single 9.8 at all. And just for fun comparison, I threw in Patsy Walker 114, which is one of the non-superhero comics that came out this month, just to compare how rare they are on the census. Only 1 copy graded in any condition, and it is a 6.0. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were busy again this month, came up with some of the most important Marvel characters of the year this month. Lots of key books. Go find these, put these in your collections. These are great books to own. Please subscribe to this channel. I do this every week. We're learning the history of Marvel Comics. Thanks for watching.